Hi everybody, Mitch Albom here, getting you caught up for the next chapter of Human Touch, the story, humantouchstory.com. If you have not read chapter 5 and want a quick recap as we dive into chapter 6, I'm going to give that to you right now. So, previously on Human Touch, chapter 5 began with Buck, who, as we know, was thrown out of the house by his grandfather, has now taken up with a self-proclaimed militia, and they hide out in the trees, and they talk about how the Chinese are somehow responsible for this virus, and they are plotting some kind of revenge against Sam Lee, the Chinese American who lives on the corner. Meanwhile, Ava, the teenage girl to Greg and Amy, finally admits to her mother something that she should have told her a long time ago, that she had a little makeout session in the woods with her boyfriend Troy, and then Troy came down with the virus, and Ava never told her parents that, and now her grandmother is sick, seriously sick with the virus, and Ava feels that she might have given it to her, and her mother, as you could imagine, say, "Ava, what did you do?" Meanwhile, Greg, her father, the doctor, has that vial of blood that he got in the previous chapter from Rose Baby, the mother of little Moses. And she told him this blood could save your mother-in-law. He doesn't know what to do with it, but he never threw it away. For some reason, he seems to think that little Moses is just an unusual kid, and maybe there's something unusual about this blood. So he gives it to a virologist in the hospital and says, "Hey, take a look at this just between the two of us, all right, and see what it is." Meanwhile, little Moses himself continues to move around the neighborhood in the corner and giving comfort to people who are sick and allowing them to hold him and hug him so that they can have human contact, which of course is where we get human touch from. At the same time, Cindy, who is the wife of Sam Lee, loses her job. She gets an email and finds out her job has been eliminated due to the growing pandemic. And her husband, Sam, is convinced that she was let go because she's Chinese American. And he decides he doesn't want to be part of this town anymore or this hypocrisy. He wants to move, and they're going to leave town. This, of course, upsets Rose Baby, who works for them, and she privately calls Haiti and asks for them to find the faith healer that was the man who gave little Moses this blessing when he was young. And somehow there's a mystery there that we need to find out why she's trying to contact this person back in Haiti, but we don't learn that yet. At the same time, Pastor Winston, who now feels guilty for having organized a church service where several people have now gotten sick, decides that his guilt is driving him to somehow do something, and so he goes downtown to downtown Detroit, and in a shelter decides to help out in a kitchen in a quarantine center for people who have the disease. And he takes a tray of oatmeals and starts giving them around, but he's wearing a mask and gloves, and for some self-penance reason, he takes his gloves and mask off as if he wants to get the disease. And we leave him there in that shelter, exposing himself to the virus. At the same time, we go back to the hospital where Greg now comes in one morning, and the virologist, whose name is Carl, comes running up to him and says, hey, this blood that you gave me, what is that? And he says, why? He says, I've never seen anything like it. Where does it come from? He says, well, it comes from an 8-year-old boy. And he says, this could be a game changer in the fight against the virus, something important to remember. At the same time, as we come to a big culmination, there's a protest at the state capitol because people are tired of being locked inside and they want to be free. And at that protest are members of this little militia that Buck has now joined up with, and they have the guns that they took from his grandfather. And in the middle of all these speeches, Buck kind of waves his gun up in the air and says, woohoo! And then he hears a voice saying, Buck, and he turns and it's his grandfather, who has been searching for him all over the state. And his grandfather sees him there. He runs away from his grandfather and smacks himself into a sign and knocks himself out. Meanwhile, fights break out. There's all pandemonium and all hell is breaking loose at the Capitol. And finally, we end with the cliffhanger back at the hospital where Greg sneaks into the room of his mother-in-law, takes out the vial of blood that he has from little Moses, and injects his mother-in-law, knowing that this is against all kind of rules, but she's near death and he feels he has no choice. And with hands shaking, he pushes the needle into her skin, and we leave it there. So that's where chapter 5 ends, and where now the new chapter 6 is about to begin. So you are now all caught up. Please remember that I'm writing this and giving this story away for free, not only for your entertainment, not only for your Audible entertainment if you choose to listen to it on audible.com, or reading entertainment if you choose to download it, but please, if you can, help us by making a donation through the humantouchstory.com website to Detroit Beats COVID-19. Our city still remains the third hardest hit in all of America, and our death tolls are just astronomically high. We are operating a testing center in downtown Detroit amongst some of the poorest neighborhoods in town, giving people the only opportunity they have to walk up and get tested. And sad to say, as we're testing hundreds of people, we're running about 40% positive of the people who are tested. 40% are coming back positive for COVID-19, which is a way high number for a testing center. So clearly we have a very serious situation in Detroit. So please consider helping out, making a donation through the humantouchstory.com site or at saydetroit.org. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for all you've done to help us up till now. And now you're all caught up. Enjoy chapter 6. 2 more chapters to go after this one, humantouchstory.com. Thank you all, and God bless you.